Hello everyone, welcome for tuning in anyway. Thank you for coming up. Just a quick one really this time on this live. I'm struggling what to do. I have ideas during the week and then by the end of the week I've forgotten and I'm thinking of something else. So for this one I thought basically I'd go through the SkyVac Industrial 85 basically, how to upgrade your motor. Got a problem there with that slide title, sort that one out later. But yeah, I've had to change the motor in my Gutter Vac, which some of you may know I've done. I've made a video on it. Well, I haven't made it. I've filmed it. I'm in the process of editing it at the moment. So hopefully some point this week, I'm hoping to put it out anyway. For me, that's a big thing. I managed to change my motor on the Gutter Vac. It's not something I ever thought I'd be doing. It's something I thought I would take to Spinner Clean and get them to do it. But can't afford to lose a day's work to go up there to see them and then get that fixed. So I thought, right, I'll have to do it myself one evening. So that's what I thought I'd talk about in this live, basically. So moving on anyway, if I can get to it. So when you're changing the motor on your Gutter Vac, you're going to need some tools. So basically, you're going to need a screwdriver, but you need a set of screwdrivers really. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. That's the minimum. You probably need different size ones just to make access a bit easier, I suppose. But it can be fiddly with all the wires. That's all to try and get to stuff. So you'll need like a long screwdriver to reach. So if you've got a pack where you've got a selection, say of 4 flatheads and 4 Phillips screwdrivers, for example, you're going to need that basically. And you're also going to need some masking tape. I didn't have masking tape, so I used electrical tape. So some form of tape where you can label up things and then write on it. So to write on it, you're going to need a permanent marker because obviously the last thing you want is all that to come off. So you don't know what's going on. But I used my daughter's Sharpie, so it's a nice thin permanent marker. And I use that to write on the tape so I can help label where things are. So it's easy for me how to put stuff back together again. This day and age as well, if you've got a mobile phone, because you can take pictures with it, you can use that at each stage to take pictures of things. So you've got something to refer back to when you're trying to put it back together how it was. So that's a great help as well. And then I got in touch with Spinner Clean when I brought the motors online and asked, have they got any instructions? Because I did find one video, that's all on YouTube, and it's from, I'd have to give them a shout out, but I can't remember what they're called. But it's somewhere in Australia, and so I've kind of followed that, but used the instructions basically that Spinner Clean gave me. So just email Spinner Clean and you'll get an email back that day with a link to for you to download, or it's in the email, for me to download or save the PDF format, which is what I'll take you through as well. Yeah, sorry, Richard, just seen that on the comments. Richard's just said take a photo before basically each stage as well. So yeah, use your mobile phone for that. That's absolutely great. So what we might as well do is I'll show you the PDF basically. So this is the PDF that I got when I emailed them, and they've given it back, and it also had a note on it saying it's the updated version as well. So when I printed it off, it come off A4 and it was in landscape, not portrait, so it's sideways. So this is pretty much it. And this is what you're going to get. It's just a series of pictures with, as you can see, just some small little bits of instructions to guide you through. So that's why I'm glad I found a video and I watched that a few days before and was trying to read these to try and use them both to marry up the idea. So it's good enough for me to follow basically. It's got in red here saying, firstly, make sure you turn the engine, the machine off, and make sure it's unplugged from any sockets. But that's probably common sense, but it has to be on there, I suppose. This first stage, you don't necessarily have to do, but I did it when I was trying to make my version of video of how to do this. You've got the blue handle you'll see on the second photo. You've basically got 6 screws Phillips screwdriver, undo those, and then you'll be able to lift up the blue handle and completely remove it. And then, as you've probably worked out from the lower two photos, underneath the handle, that's where you can undo another 2 screws, and then basically you'll remove the power plug, so it's completely disconnected. I did that, but I think you could leave the whole thing together, and then it'll just be easier to remove the top part of the head unit, basically. As long as it's unplugged, you should be all right. But that is, if you ever have to change the power lead, then you know how to do it, don't you? But yeah, this is the style of instructions you get to follow along. And like most instructions, it's a bit of guesswork as well to try and make sense of it. If you was going to take that off or leave it on, so you can skip to this stage, where you've got the very top part of the gutter vac itself, 6 screws for you to undo, and then you can lift it up, and then you'll explode, as you can see in the other picture where you've got the blue plastic bit. But what you're going to have to do is, all them wires are still connected, you can't actually lift it off. So what you've got to do is, this is the bit where I think a video would have been handy, because it's hard just to go off pictures and instructions. But I suppose if you're more clued up than what I am, you'd probably work it out anyway. Because what you got to do is then start disconnecting the wires from the back end of the switches to turn the gutter vac on and off. And on each switch is basically 4 wires. The top 2 spade ends, you've got a white wire and like a red-orange wire sort of colour. Leave them attached. But the ones you're going to have to take off is below that. There's 2 more spade ends on each switch. And they've got grey cables going to them. And it's the grey cables you want to disconnect. It will tell you on here, if you read it, basically using a flathead screwdriver. Because you've got these little tabs to press in. And when you press in the tab, it disengages like a little nipple that goes into from the spade end to what it connects onto. So it unlocks it. So when you press that tab in, you can then pull. And then the wires will come off. If you just try pulling it, you won't. It's locked on. So that's why you need a flathead screwdriver, just to take the wires off, basically. And you've got to do that on all the switches to disconnect. So basically, you can take the top layer off. But the bottom right-hand picture, that's trying to get you. There's a couple more wires you have to disengage as well with a spade end. Again, it's not very clear on here, but it's good if you watch it on a video like the one I found, and hopefully the one I'm going to make. And then basically once you disconnect all the wires, you can remove that part and you're left with the blue bit and all the wiring. And then basically it tells you how to move the wiring through the blue bit of plastic, and then you can take that off. But there's also 9 screws that go around in a circle, Phillips screwdriver, undo them, take them off. And like Richard's saying, at each stage, take a picture or of anything, so you've got a guide to yourself on how to put things back and how things are wired up. And then what I've done as well, because I followed someone else's tip, I also put the tape. It was electrical tape for me, but it could be masking tape, and marked it up with a pen, so I knew what motor would go to what switch. And you could obviously mark up the switches as well, so you know how they all marry up together again, basically. And then basically it just goes through different stages here, like how to take out the foam, and then moving the wiring through to go down to the next level. And then they've got 9 screws as well, and an earther wire like goes to where there's a screw. So you remove the earth screw as well, and you can take that layer apart. Then it exposes the layers underneath, so you can get to the motors basically. So that's the PDF. You'd probably suss it out because you're probably more clued up about it than what I am. I mean, if I can do it at the end of the day, you can. And hopefully with the video I've made, although at the moment the video is like an hour long and I'm trying to cut it down as well, but I was just talking whilst filming and I was just following these instructions basically. I wasn't trying to make a really good tutorial because it took me like 6 hours anyway, and 6 hours the night before. Because for what happened to me is, I had to change 3 of my motors in the end. What it was I was on a job and 2 of me motors on the gutter vac instantly they just burnt out, and I was just down to my last motor, and look at that, held out, and I completed the job on that. So I brought two motors, replaced them. Then when I put the whole thing together to check everything works, started with each motor that I just replaced. So them two were working. When I turned the one on that was working to start with, that then went on me. So then I had to go and buy another one. So I spent another evening of taking it all apart and replacing that one motor. So managed to do that anyway. And they all worked. So it's all three motors working now. It's funny that all the motors went roughly at the same time. So whether it's time of life, they just so many times they work and then they go out. But it could also have been the filters that you used. They might have been knackered. So a bit of debris come in and knackered up my motors, which I probably expect is what it was. So it just shows you how important it is to maintain your motors, maintain your filters, and to keep an eye on them and keep buying replacement ones rather than keep pushing it to get the most life out of it as possible. But yeah, these basically are the PDF instructions. That's how you get them emailed. You can print them off. And hopefully my video, if you use both, basically you'll work out how to do it. Just give yourself plenty of time and a couple of cans of beer and you'll get there no problem. So yeah, this is a PDF and that's basically putting it all back together at the end. So quite straightforward. And like I said, if I can do it, you can. And what it's definitely done is saved me having to move my window cleaning. So I've got a day free to travel down to Spinner Clean and then pay them to do it. It's something I can do. Because when I looked on their website and I was looking up for the motor, you can see it's £126 and that's including your VAT. So I ended up buying 3 of them. But I brought 2 to start with. But when you scroll to the bottom, I'll just try and highlight this bit here for you. And the key benefits, it does say it's easy to fit yourself. So that's what basically made me think, right, I'll have a go. As long as you're competent, that's all it says. So you don't have to be someone who's qualified, just competent so you can put it all back together. At the end of the day, it's the Gutter Vac. I've got an Industrial 85. It is an expensive bit of kit. So you don't want to knacker it up really. And I need it for my job. I like using it. So you got to learn to look after it really. And I do look after it. I do wash it. I do clean it. I just think I've got definitely the most of my money out of them filters. Although they looked all right, but I'm only assuming that a bit of debris come in and it's knackered up my motors as all 3 went in the end. Or whether all 3 are just gone because it's time of life. Who knows? So yeah, your filters are really, really important. So I'll try and find the filters for you. Because they are £57 something off the top of my head each. There we go. So these are the filters. As you can see, it's SkyVac 75, 78, 85 and the Interceptor model. So I've got the Industrial 85. I'm sure it'll be the Nitro as well. As you can see with VAT, £57.60. It does also, when you look on the website, they give you great advice and everything here, like how to look after it, how to clean it, top tips. It says have a spare in the van, so that's why I also ordered 2 of these along with the 3rd motor I brought, and I've always had 2. The reason why you want spare is because if one of them gets really wet, it makes the air to draw into the motors harder work, and it's going to put pressure on your motors. So what you need to do is when they're saturated, take it off and put another one on, or if it's too clogged up with dirt. So that's why you always have a spare. But they also say when you read it on the website, it's basically to be changed every 4 months. Now, whether that's 4 months of constant use, because you tend to do it in seasons, don't you, really, for like the gutter season and a few jobs here and there. So I'm probably going to say every year I'm just going to buy new filters. And obviously, if after every use you're going to clean it anyway, you just basically got to brush all the little pleats where there's mud in there out. And then with a hose pipe, just run your water through there. Don't use anything with too much pressure because you just rip it and then let it dry. and then basically it's good to go. But then inspect it then for any damages before you reuse it, or any misshapen bits. And if they look gone, that's when I'd replace it as well. But I'm definitely going to do it every year minimum. Why it says 4 months, I don't know if that's 4 months of use or not. Maybe that's something I'm going to have to get in touch with Spinner Clean, or you yourselves can as well. So it is important that you look after and maintain these filters, because they're going to do their job of looking after your motors. And as you can see, the motors are, as you've already seen, £126 each. Keep pressing the wrong buttons. So a £57 filter is going to be cheaper than a £126 motor, isn't it, at the end of the day? And especially when you've got 3 of them, you're talking 375 quid, aren't you? And then you probably need to buy a filter. So yeah, I'd rather go looking after me filters anyway. They are important. So yeah, I love the Gutter Vac. I'm quite chuffed. I stripped it down, took it apart. Don't get me wrong, it is fiddly. You're going to swear a lot. Thank God I can edit that out when you're video making. But it's doable. If I can do it, you can do it. And now I've done it a couple of times, it should be quite straightforward. And also I could probably service the head myself now, because I know how to take it all apart. I had a problem because I did go to Spinner Clean to have the head serviced on my Gutter Vac, and that was really good. And I did have an issue with my Power Max lever, and after stripping it down, I can see what the problem would have been. So that's something I could now re-sort out myself. If I ever come across that problem again, I'll just know instantly how to sort it out. But yeah, no, pretty impressed with myself. It's not. I'm glad it got done. And I wanted to get it done because I was using it on a job that was coming up as well. So I rely on that Gutter Vac. I mean, I love it. I'm not afraid to use ladders, but it takes longer on the job, and the Gutter Vac's just so much easier. They're brilliant things. I'm really glad I got it. It's a good bit of kit. I've got the generator and everything with it. I love it. So yeah, that's why I thought I'd just do a quick live basically today, and just basically say it's something you can do yourself. You can change the motors yourself. You don't have to take a day off work plus fuel, travelling down, and then paying labour. It's something you can do in the evening. You haven't lost a day's work. Because of how it's been over winter, it's not been good. And I've lost a lot of work with December and January. It's cleaned out my little buffer. So there's no way I wanted to lose a day's work. So it kind of pushed me into doing it. Whereas if I was a bit more flush, it's probably something I would have took the day off and travelled down there and paid them to change the motors for me. But now I know I can do it. If I can do it, you can. And hopefully when I get the video out there, following along the video with these PDF instructions, which you can get hold of straight from Spinner Clean, you'll all be able to do it yourself, no problem. And I expect most Gutter Vacs are similar. Obviously, different models are going to be different. Because I couldn't see on their website how to change it. That's why I got in touch with them. But there is one on how to change your motor for the Atom, for example. But yeah, no, it's chuffed. Okay, just if you got any questions, just stick them in the comments and I'll come to them. If you're watching this after the live's finished, stick them in the comments at the bottom, and then I'll come back to you as well. I've had quite a few comments on my other videos. I always try and answer them as well. Excuse me. So if you've got any questions about things, just put them in there. I'll come back to you. And obviously people are leaving good bits of advice for me as well, especially when it comes to dealing with all the people that keep skipping all the time, that sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, we're all on our own little journeys, aren't we? But it's very similar. But I am a believer you've got to make your own mistakes so you can learn from them. You're probably going to listen to other people's mistakes, but you're going to go ahead and make them anyway. At least you kind of know the heads up on the answer. But yeah, we're all here to help each other. Window cleaning isn't as easy as what people seem to think, especially with the cost of living and all that lot. But there you go. Right, if nobody's got any questions or any questions about anything, doesn't have to be doing with the Gutter Vac at all. Just stick them on there. So this was Richard's comment earlier. Take a photo beforehand too. So yeah, your mobile phones or anything else you got really, it's definitely handy. You can see how things go together. Sometimes you're zooming in on the photo because you took a picture of something, but in the background is what you need. So you're zooming in there to make sure, so you can see the connections. What I did find is some of the spade ends I'd pushed too far on these tabs to unlock them. So what happened is the spade connectors were coming off and I was having to undo everything to get to the bottom layer of the Gutter Vac. And then I learned to bend the tabs a bit more. So the spade ends would lock in place as they should have done. So they'd stop me having to keep disconnecting all these flipping different layers and parts and screws just to keep pushing it back on again because it kept coming off. Because when you're trying to put it together, all the wiring's quite tight, so it's tugging on the spade end. So make sure they're locked in properly. That's my top tip anyway. Right. I don't think there's going to be any more comments on here, so I'll probably, like I said, it's just going to be a short one. I think next week what I might do is, oh, hang on. All right, Rob, any tips for internal cleaning? Yeah, just bear with me a second. Don't think I've got a link on there. Right, window cleaning. Sorry, I've just got a picture up for you, Rob. It's basically, I've tried, how I first cleaned the inside windows was with traditional, but I found it really hard in direct sunlight, especially in the summer, because you can't obviously use too much liquid on the glass, the soapy solution, whatever you're going to use, fairy liquid or whatever, because the water's going to make a mess. You can put towels and that stuff. But also found with your bucket on a belt and everything around your waist, sometimes when you're trying to get between sofas and things like that, it just gets in the way. And after Christmas, I got fat enough as it is anyway. So then I switched on trying different things. And this is what me and the family thinks best. This is what we use. It's this stuff here. It's called Brite, Brite. It's made by Clover. So it's not particularly really expensive. And what I've got in the picture here is you've got a trigger bottle. So it's a 350ml trigger bottle. And they also sell it in these 5-litre containers. So if you're going to get anything for cleaning insides, that's what I recommend. And then I'd also recommend getting that set up. So you've got a 350-litre trigger bottle. And then you've got a 5-litre bottle to refill that one up. And then what you can do after then is just buy the 5-litre bottles. And you could always probably have a spare trigger bottle because it might go missing. And what I tend to use, I use a different trigger bottle. So it's got no labels on it. It's just completely unmarked. It's one of the round ones. And I fill that with Brite so people don't know what product I'm using. It sounds weird, like for a bloke to say. It's got a nice smell to it. And my customers, even the husband, will say that as well. So you can tell it's been used. It is nice. It's really good stuff. Spray it on. It goes through bird poo, no problem. All that sort of stuff. So it cuts through that. And then I use 2 microfiber cloths. Let's see if I can find this one for you. With the microfiber cloths, let's do a search for you. Oh, that's Not good. Basically, I use something like this. It's not window cleaner. I use ones from Unger. I'll get it from a different shop. It's like from near me. It's not far in Whittlesea. Short travel. Go to Hugh Crane, and basically that's where I buy the brights from. And I also buy packer cloths. So I've got the Unger cloths, the small square ones. I think they're 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters, and it's what everyone would probably use as a seal cloth when you're doing traditional work. So you can use it for traditional and then obviously use it as a cloth inside with the bright. So what I do is I spray a lot of the bright on the glass and then use the seal cloth to try and get that saturated. And then basically as I start using it, I'll use less of the spray because of the cloth's quite saturated. As you know, microfiber cloths work best when they're saturated, but then they don't work very well if they're too dry or oversaturated. And I use that to do the initial clean, so that cuts through all the bird poo and marks and all this kind of stuff. And then basically I use like this. This is a microfiber cloth, so it's not your seal cloth, it's what you'd probably use as a detailing cloth. The ones I buy, that I get them from Hugh Crane, but I believe you can buy the same cloth in something like Wilko, so it's not too expensive neither. And they're brilliant at polishing. So what you'll find is when you first start, you'll just have to use the bright, like I was saying, oversaturate, use the cloth. And as the cloth's getting wetter, you can put less on. But once you've given it a clean, it will leave like, obviously, there's still going to be the glass cleaner on the glass basically, but it's not going to be too heavy because some of it's off on the cloth. And then when you polish it off with your detailing cloth, that will just dry, no problem at all. You can use it in direct sunlight. It won't dry up on you. And when you get what you might think is little smears, don't keep going over it and over it. Just leave it. They will start to disappear. So they're good for if you're washing your car and the sun's out. They're great for cleaning the window screen as well. It's awesome stuff. So that's what I'd recommend is bright, because you just need the trigger bottle in your hand. And then you can have hanging out your pockets or on your belt or whatever you want to use is just two cloths, a seal cloth and a detail cloth. And the beauty of that is this stuff, bright, you can use it on the UPVC frames as well, wooden frames. So you can get all the frames done, the seals done and the glass done, just like you do on the outside. I don't know if it can zoom in for you more. I can't move the label up. Hang on. Give us a sec. So it's streak free, smear free. So it is definitely really good. Trust me, I use it. It's great. And it does what it says. So it's not like window lean and stuff where you still get smears. This is really good. But you'll also see you can use it. It says here like cleans windows, double glazing, mirrors, glass, display, glass shelves, screen, ceramic tiles, laminate, stainless steel, plastic, aluminium and all hard surfaces. So it's great on your fridges and things like that. We use it a lot just in our house. So it's really, really great. It's saying here, look, cleans white goods, fridges, dishwashers, washing machines, kettles, toasters, etc. Glass cleaning, UPVC, glazing and double glazing industry, photocopiers to get a clear image. Honestly, this is really great stuff. I'll just zoom out of that for you. So just look it up, see where you can get it from. Luckily for me, I can drive somewhere to get hold of it, so I'm not paying all the delivery fees and all that kind of stuff. I don't do tons of inside work, so it does last me a while. There's one job I do on a Saturday once a month where we clean the inside of 6 conservatories, the outsides, that's the roof and the windows, as because it's their display area. So we use it in there, and it's great, especially when it comes to summer and you've got all these the flies get in there and that. Honestly, this stuff goes through fly poo, no problems, and it's great in direct sunlight. It's what I use, Rob. So hopefully, mate, that's kind of answered your question or given you food for thought anyway. If you don't want to use this stuff, obviously you can use traditional equipment. But I'm nowhere near as good as what the guys who do trad for a living. And because you can't use too much water, I find it hard in the summer. Whereas this Bright's brilliant. Just spray it on. You can do all the frames and everything as well as the glass. It's honestly, it's great. Hi, Ched. Thanks, mate, as ever. Yeah, the Wilco glass cloths are great. Really, it's just I was in Kings Lynn last Saturday, went down there with my kids and the missus, and then I saw Wilco's there was shut. I just thought it was that shop. I didn't know the whole of Wilco's collapsed. Wasn't aware of that. But yeah, if you can get them cloths, they're great for detail like cloths. I swear it's the same cloth I buy, but it's Hugh Crane. It looks very similar anyway. And even my dad's used it and he says, what a beautiful cloth that is. And the price was good. See if we can get a bigger picture. Don't know what size this is. 40 by 40 and get 80 by 60. It looks very similar to this, the one that I use anyway. It's great as a polishing cloth for cleaning the insides, or it's what I use for detailing when I do the odd bit of trad as well. But yeah, and a seal cloth. That's it. That's all you need for the insides, really. Or that's what we do. It's surprising how long doing the insides can take you. That's why we find this stuff's brilliant, and we can break down in teams. Because when I do that big job that I do on a Saturday once a month, like I said, it's 6 conservatories, they're display ones, and we clean the roofs in and out, the windows in and out, as well as the windows of the actual shop themselves. We can divide into teams, so all the outside's getting cleaned while the inside's getting cleaned at the same time, and we do quite well. When I first did that job first time round, it took me and my son 8 hours. Bear in mind that was the first clean as well, but now the whole family's in there. Problem is, it cost me a lot of money paying everyone off, but it's a good way for us to spend time with each other anyway. We don't mind doing it. Well, we like doing it. And they appreciate it. Has anyone else got anything else that they want to ask or get advice, talk about? No probs, Rob. Hope it kind of helps. I'm not sure where the best place to buy the Bright from itself, but look for the trigger bottle and the 5 litre containers. It's probably worth just getting it and trying it in your own house and make up your own mind, see what you think of it really. And you've probably got some cloths, if you do the odd little bit of traditional work, that you can test with anyway. But it's tops. It's really good stuff, and it's like I say, it's great on other things like fridges and so on. It's great for that. Gets rid of all the finger marks from the kids, or from me, because I'm always raiding the fridge. So I've just put in Bright window cleaning. It's come up with these. I suppose they're all the advertised ones. UK cleaning supplies. So just basic, might as well have a look at the price. So 5 litres is £9.23p. I think that's about similar to what I'd get from Hugh Crane. And then obviously it's going to be your shipping costs on top of that as well. I'm not sure if they do it anymore, but I know I used to sometimes buy it as a 20 litre container, like a 25 litre barrel, but obviously 20 litres other stuff. But I don't think Hugh Crane get it in that anymore. Whether that's their decision or Clover's, I don't know. So you could probably buy it bigger as well. But that's ideal. It's small, fits in your van, the 5 litres, and you can top all these up and get your cloths and go. Like it says, streak free, and it is streak free. It's really good. And you might see some like streaks, like I said, just leave it, it'll disappear right in front of your eyes. Don't know how much it'll be on Amazon, but I expect it to be a lot more than that. Can't find it. I'm sure I've seen it on there before anyway, and like most things on Amazon, it'll be a bit more than what you can get elsewhere. But then again, it's next day delivery, isn't it? And it might work out cheaper still that way than buying off a website with delivery. Right, I can't find it, but I expect you guys might. But yeah, that's the stuff you want, or stuff I use anyway. It's great stuff. You'll love it. No worries, mate. Bet you can't wait for it to come through the post now. But hopefully it make your life a lot easier and be a big help. Worst case scenario, it is something your family will like, your missus anyway. It's really good. I use it at home all the time. It's really good. And it's good stuff. It makes my job cleaning insides a lot easier. And my kids use it. And my kids range from 17 up to the age of 27. I've got 4 of them, so we all use it. It's all good, mate. Yes, Ched, I've had better luck with the kit. I have had a problem, though, on my 45 litre trolley. That stopped working on the start of the first job. But luckily, because I carry gardener's backpacks, we just switched that out. My daughter could work using that while me and my son use the 2-man system off the tank. So we still got the work done. But then obviously it means when you get home, you've now got to start faffing around with all that. But what it was the fuse was a bit loose. So I brought a new fuse, and then it still had the same problem again. It was working for a while and then stopped. But when we tightened the lid of the fuse up, it kind of worked and sorted itself out. I haven't had any problems since. So what it did mean, sorry, I'll just try and find something for you. So I've brought a spare fuse now for the holder. Sorry, if I can try and find it. Right, got it. Yep, so I brought a spare one of these now to replace the one I've got in there. You'll see it's got the threads. So from the threads sticking outwards, that's what sticks out of the X-line 45 litre trolley. The bit there goes behind it. I'm not sure if you attach something on the bottom or it comes with the cable. So basically, I've just got to hook it back up, just disconnect the old one, put the new one in. That's what I'm planning on doing when it arrives. It will hopefully arrive this week. So I ordered it, I think it was like Thursday or Friday. So I guess it's got over the weekend to come back. Yes, mate. The fuse and the holders can corrode because it does get wet. And the fuse that was in there was starting to rust in places anyway. So I put a new fuse in, it worked. We screwed the top on, and I've just bought a new holder just to make sure. And even if I don't need it and it's working, what we've done, I've still got one spare then. So that's all with kit really, apart from that. Wrong button. Yeah, it's got, I think they were bullet connectors, but I've changed them for another connector so it's easier. I've forgotten what they're called now. So it's just easy for me to unconnect and then reconnect the new one in. But I'm assuming the new holder comes with the wiring attached, even though in the picture, it doesn't look like it's got any wiring on the back of it at all. So I'm sure the original one in there, it looks like the wire's soldered on the back of that. So I'm assuming it comes with the wire anyway. I hope so. Yeah, it's definitely good to have spares. That's what I do with the backpack. If I buy something to replace something in there, I'll buy two. So I've got one on the shelf. So as soon as it goes, I can quickly swap it in and out, get out working, and then just order a new bit to build up my spares, so to speak. But I'm not going to have spares of everything I use, but the common things that tend to go wrong. Luckily, the gardener's backpack is cheap enough to get the spares. If I can find it. That's what I like about the gardener's backpack. It's simple. Things don't last forever on it, which you wouldn't expect for the price you're paying for it. Backpack spares. So I can't find it. Oh, here they are. Yeah, so these are all the a long list here you can see of individual parts for your gardener's backpack, and the list goes on, and they're cheap. I mean, they go from like 35p upwards, and I think the most expensive part is the battery, £23.50. Then you've got the pump, which is £22. You can go to DA Components. It's out of stock though, the battery. I've got a spare battery. But you can get these pumps, £22.50, and I think for an extra 10 or more from DA Components, you can get a chemical one. So that's what I like about the gardener's backpack, and they're easy to get bits, swap them in, swap them out as well. Oh, cheers, Ched. It is something I have thought of getting in, is some soldering kit, and see if there's anything when I need to repair it. It could be worth investing in anyway. My youngest son, he's doing electrical stuff at school because he's going to try and be an electrician or get an apprentice. So in his sixth form, he's going for it. So hopefully he'll help me out. A lot of time it's me looking on YouTube and having a go. But yeah, I'll bear it in mind. Thanks, Ched. But yeah, these parts are good for cheapness anyway. Gardener's backpack. Obviously with me 40 line, X line 45 litre trolley, the parts are more expensive. But as you'd expect, they do last a lot longer. It's just when something goes wrong on your kit and you haven't put it together, it can take a lot of research, and it's mainly getting the confidence to have a go. Sometimes you're forced in a corner just to do it anyway, which is how I ended up changing the motors on my Gutter Vac. But if I can do it, you can do it. Now it's done, I'm glad. And like I say, I could probably service the head unit myself now. And if there's a problem with switches, which I'm sure there's going to be, I could buy a switch, take it out, and put a new one in, rewire it up. So it's quite straightforward. It's quite good. Anyway, I hope you've all had a good month. Mine's not been too bad so far. Excuse me. I'm on target to have a good month. I just hope the weather holds out. Now I've said it, I've jinxed it now, and But I know when I was looking at the weather this morning, it looks like this Tuesday and this Wednesday, the gusts are going to be fairly high. But who knows? When we come to Tuesday, it might move later on in the week. And hopefully by the time we get to later on in the week, the gusts and that will happen over the weekend. But here's to hoping. And I'll have to make these decisions on the day, really. But it'd be great to just keep working. I just need to claw back, make some profit. But that profit is basically, it's not going to be straight in my bank, building up the pot. It's going to be clearing off some of the debt on the credit card that I've had to use. But I'll be happy if I get that done this month and next month, and then I'm back to where I should have been. And then back to building up the pot again, isn't it? Now the better weather's coming. I don't know about you lot, but I found January and February's been great cleaning apart from the weather. We've definitely been finishing way earlier than we normally do, and that's to the fact that the windows are obviously staying cleaner for longer because of all the rain. You haven't got all these spiders, there's no cobwebs going back out there. The insects aren't out and about, so you haven't got the problems with pollen. The young birds aren't flying around, so it's easier to clean. But when summer starts getting here, I'm sure that's going to reverse itself. Because all these things are going to change, and then cleaning the windows is going to take longer. It's going to be too hot, probably a water ban on and a drought, and people are going to be out in their gardens, so people are going to be there to speak to you, and it's going to take longer. But then you've got the longer day anyway, haven't you? But yeah, we're flying through it at the moment. It's to the point where you think, oh, I must be really good. I've got something right. But that's all it's down to. The windows just easier to clean this time of year, I find. Especially where I am anyway. It's bad, isn't it, with the spider mating season, September, October, but then November, December, they're still out, the spiders and cobwebs everywhere. But after December, they're not out and about, so it's so much easier. I don't know if you guys have found all this as well, but yeah, it's been good. I hope you've all having a better month, because I think we all suffered December and January. December and January. February should be a good one. I hope next month is too. It's just the weather in it. Surprising how weather driven it is. So I know when you follow along with some of the other people who do like pressure washing, they've got seasons, haven't they? And then they tend to worry about when it's out of pressure washing season. But if you've got too much window cleaning going on, like I have, I can't really do pressure washing. I haven't got the kit for it anyway. But I'm just relying on window cleaning, fascia softens and gutters, gutter clears. And then obviously conservatory roofs, that sort of thing. That's basically as far as I go. But it's busy. It's good. It's nice for everything to work right as well. It's just, when you get a spanner in the works, it really hurts, doesn't it? It hits you hard. All right, guys, that's it. I'll call it a night there. Thanks for tuning in to watch anyway. And like I said, if you've got any questions, bung them in the comments below after the live's finished. I'll always come back to you. Thanks for people for watching and follow me as well. Sort of spurs you on. And I'll try and complete this video of how I changed my motors in the Gutter Vac. Like I said, good thing I had was this. The PDF file that was sent across to me by Spinner Clean kind of followed that as well. And yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good week as well, Ched. Hope everyone does. Cheers. Thank you. Take care.